With all the hubbub surrounding everything Donald Trump and the necessary dissection of everything Hillary Clinton says, perhaps a shock to learn there are other POTUS candidates running about the country at the moment, some of whom could almost be considered stealth candidates, none of whom will be quiet as we get closer to certain dates in, for instance, New Hampshire. Covering the campaign is the senior political reporter for the National Review, just back from the Granite State. Welcome, Alexis Levinson to the Hard Line. Alexis, you just got back earlier today from New Hampshire, so before we talk about all those stealth candidates and Jeb Bush in his comments, just out of curiosity, what do they think up in New Hampshire about Donald Trump?
You know, I actually thought the most interesting thing was how the candidates reacted to them up there. Carly Fiorina, got really pretty annoyed with the press when we kept asking her about it. She got asked about it 3 times in about 3 hours. And every time she was just like, he doesn't represent my party, he doesn't represent me, he doesn't represent my party. Really just, why is this the most important thing that you're asking me about? Jeb Bush actually at a town hall brought him up of his own accord, and kind of someone asked about immigration, and Jeb's immediate response was, well, maybe you can talk to Donald Trump about that. He's sort of having fun at Trump's expense.
Is that the biggest thing maybe that you're getting from the candidates? And you mentioned the word annoyance from Carly Fiorina, and that's it. They want to get their message across. They want to talk about immigration. They want to talk about taxes. They want to talk about foreign policy. But the press and the public simply won't let them right now because of the Donald?
He is a distraction if you want to be talking about other things. And he is loud, and he is out there, and he is in your face, and he is constantly saying something that, for us in the media, everyone wants to read about what he's saying. And so we keep writing about him. But that, at the same time, a lot of people don't really think he's a serious candidate. And so there's this concern he's taking all the oxygen out of the room from some of the more serious contenders.
All right, let's put some oxygen back in then for Carly Fiorina, because you wrote about her recently in the National Review. And I mentioned stealth candidates because we really haven't heard much from Carly recently. What is she doing, and do you feel that she's getting any traction whatsoever at this level right now?
So she's actually doing a lot. I saw her at the beginning of, it's an 8 or 9 day trip in New Hampshire. She's doing, I think I was there for maybe 6 public events, and that was in 2 days. She had many, many more as it went on. She's really putting herself out there. She's talking to everyone, pretty much anyone who will listen. She's really, she's getting to the town halls. She's going out, walking through towns, stopping in small businesses, going to manufacturing businesses. Her challenge is just no one knows her. And so like you said, there's this, you haven't heard much from her. And that's not because she isn't doing anything. That's just because she still polls at around 2%. Not a lot of people know her name. And not a lot of people realize that she's up there and trying to really expand that name ID.
Well, speaking of those polls, Jeb Bush, the former Florida governor, he apparently is rising in some of these polls. According to Real Clear Politics, he went from 10.8% to 16.3%. Look, it's very early, and those spikes are interesting to talk about. But do you get a sense, walking around, talking to the voters, watching the candidates, watching Jeb Bush, that he's got a message that's resonating?
I was really impressed with Jeb's town hall, actually, last night. He seemed very confident. He seemed very comfortable. Voters seemed to be responding very well to him. I mean, he seemed like he was in his element. And the thing when you talk to New Hampshire voters, and I heard it so many times when I was up there, was, well, I'm checking him out. Well, are you going to vote for him? It's too early to tell. I've seen 12 of them, but I still really want to see, name one of the other 4 candidates that they haven't seen yet. New Hampshire voters are still really doing their due diligence, and there's so many candidates. 16, 17 at this point. And so they like him. He's certainly on the list, but very few people seem ready to really commit at this point.
I got about 1 minute left, and of course we have to talk about the faux pas that Governor Bush made, where he has been hammered in the media for saying that he wants Americans to work longer hours, that he told the New Hampshire union leader. But you were there when he talked after that and basically had to clarify it. It seems like we're not hearing the entire story of what he said.
Well, so yeah, after this town hall on last night in Hudson, New Hampshire, he talked to the press and he was asked about this comment, and he said, he basically said it was being taken out of context, that what he was trying to say is that there needed to be more full-time jobs available to Americans, and that a lot of the policies put in place by this administration had hampered that. So, he talked about Obamacare, but what he said is that a strong economy requires people working 40 hours a week, not 30 hours a week, and that people want to have full-time jobs. They don't want to have part-time jobs. And that's what he was trying to say, what he said he was trying to say. He said he was trying to just make the point that there should be more opportunities for full-time jobs for Americans. And so
as
DNC
usual,
has taken it to a different place.
in context, in the DNC, my goodness, I never would have thought that would have been possible in a political arena. Stunning indeed. Alexis Levinson, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We're going to stay in touch with you because we got a long way to go and the fun is only just beginning. Excellent writing in the National Review Online. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks.
All right, Jeb Bush has to walk back some comments. Bernie Sanders still lurking in the weeds against Hillary in New Hampshire. Just think, we're only just getting started. Stay with us. This is the fastest 60 minutes of news. More to come right here on The Hardline.